Hi everyone. Builds for this video at the end, but for the first half, all we're doing is ulting with Acheron. Since this is level 3, our ult just clears the wave. This team is only to maximize debuffs, it does nothing else. Always start with Acheron technique for the free crimson points on each wave. They're really important. Kafka and Gunafin can debuff the enemy for each of their turns, whether that's a basic, a skill, or an ult. So you'll see 10 plus Acheron ults, and you need them just to get to that 60k. You'll see later on in this video, I try to kill a single mob with skills and basic attacks and not waste Acheron ult, but that doesn't go as planned and I waste like a full turn. So you just want to ult whenever you get it and keep killing enemies. The chamber buff for this pure fiction is that enemies take damage when the meter fills, and you fill the meter by breaking enemy toughness. So focus on whichever enemy you can break instead of getting maximum crimson knots on one enemy. This is quite opposite of what you want for MOC. I'll speed up some of the footage when there's nothing to do except press basic attack. Make sure you're using the attack that's going to add a debuff. You don't need to worry about the stage buff. It'll keep happening thanks to the number of ults Acheron does. Plus the weakness of this stage is electro and physical, so you're good on that front.
All things in this world have human creations. It came together.
Stand still. Good times. No time to say bye. Boom.
Don't throw the game.
I weep for the departed. It too shall fall.
A feast year of Happy New Year.
Cut limit. That's half the work. Destined for oblivion. Relax. Stand still. I weep for the departed. It too shall fall. Good times. Never let time to say bye. Boom.
Together as one.
Still waters of oblivion.
No matter.
May as well kill them all. I weep for the departed. It too shall fall.
Forget your wallet?
Unfortunately, we're not gonna get that 40k run on this attempt. I've done it before, but it's just not worth the effort because all you need is the 60,000 for the 3-star.
And yang.
Good times. Never let time to say bye. Boom.
All things in this human creations.
Stage 2 is a Himiko and Jade duo erudition team with Ron May to buff. Robin would 100% be better here, but I don't have Robin. Considering the weakness on this side is fire and quantum, you will 100% keep using follow-up attacks. So there is no way you don't get the 40k if you are using this team. Alternatives for this team are you replace Jade with Herta and you'll do just as well, if not better, because sometimes Herta can do more damage than Jade. For this team, just try to maximize breaks as you want as many follow-up attacks as possible. This is an E4 Himiko, so a skill gives her 2 charges per break instead of 1. Overall, that isn't very important, but it's good to know so that you can sort of prioritize around which enemy to break first. Elites count as 3 charges for Himiko's follow-up attack, which means an instant trigger. This is really good game design, and I feel like it makes her useful, at least in the long run. For some reason, the priority is Jade's follow-up attack and then Himeko's follow-up. I don't know why it is coded like this, but I assume it's because Jade is a limited 5-star and they wanted to make Himeko worse. Himeko's follow-up charge doesn't accumulate past 3, while Jade's can go up to 11, 12, 13. So it would make more sense to prioritize Himeko, but it is what it is.
Perhaps you still don't. Humanity never conceals its desire to control the heavens, and I'm no exception.
In the background, you see I'm almost got 60k already, and we're not even done with one cycle on this side. Erudition follow-up units just clear this mode so easily. I ult with Bailu every now and then to make it look like she's useful, but even you can see that the enemies barely attack. They die before they get a chance. So any sustain is fine, and even running without a sustain, someone like Asta would be great here for this speed buff.
Stay away. You won't get away. Bending the rules. I have something for you.
There's no backing up now, for me or you.
Who's the little backstabber? You won't get away.
Every petal, all will be swept away by the wind.
Enjoying yourself?
Perhaps you still don't understand. Humanity never conceals its desire to control the heavens, and I'm no exception.
You don't look so good. Some value, I suppose. Much obliged. You won't get away. Time for a lesson. You won't get away.
Perhaps you still don't. Humanity never conceals its desire to control the heavens, and I'm no exception.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
I always deliver. There's no backing up now, for me or you.
For builds, this team is pretty straightforward. Kafka is only there to apply her shock debuff. She does no damage even with this hyper invested build, and you can see the relics. I've spent a lot of time, but more often than not, the only important part of her kit is the shock. I'm lucky to have her signature light cone here to apply additional shocks, but other than that, there's nothing else that's important. Just you have Gunaifen, you have Kafka, and you have Fushuan. So moving on to Fushuan, the reason that there is a preservation unit here, again, any sustain is good, but preservation is especially good for Acheron because you can give them the IPC cone, and the IPC cone adds a burn to enemies that hit you, which means you get more Acheron ults. That is why Fushuan is on this team. Otherwise, you can replace her for Jeopard or Aventurine or anybody who has a preservation and can use the light cone. Acheron being the main source of damage, her relics are the most important for this part. I have her signature, but mostly focus on getting her crit stats high. She is quite possibly the best DPS in the game, and hopefully she stays strong for a while if you've pulled for her. Her light cone helps a lot because of the additional debuff that it procs on her skill, but 100% it's not necessary. Any good high attack Nihility cone would do. Moving on to the next team, since this is Himeko and Jade shining out, they're the only two builds I'll talk about. Rest you can pause and see. My Himeko is usually ungeared. I just take my Topaz relics and throw them on whenever Pure Fiction comes around. Maximize crit and attack, very basic build, focusing on follow-up damage, and you're good to go. As I said before, I've gotten either extremely lucky or unlucky. She's E4, and the flip side is I don't have Welt or Jeopard or Yanking yet, but all good, I guess. E4 is just as good as any of them. Jade is one of my favorite units, and she should be yours too. She uses my old Sealy build, so the set is good. Her crit damage is low, but her kit gives her 50% for free on top of the relic buffs. I've never needed to change her build, she does her job. Unfortunately, this being an E0 F2P Jade, she's not good for anything except Pure Fiction, and for now she's relegated to just that.